to the determinant for conducting the research project. Okay, so this four thing, the manager should have to look into first before conducting the research project. First, whether in terms of time constraint, the availability of the data, the nature of the decision, and lastly the value of the research versus the cost. Okay, let's take a look into this figure. Okay, you can see that you can see that the figure illustrates the simple checklist to determine the requirement of a research. Okay, first we look into the time in terms of time. Okay, is it sufficient time available to do the research? Okay, if your answer is yes, okay, and then we look into the availability of the data. Okay, is it the data available for the analysis? Okay, if the answer is no, so you should not proceed to conduct the research. But if the answer is yes, okay, we look into the importance of the research. Is the decision is very critical for the organization? So if the answer is yes, okay, we look into the value of the research. Okay, whether the value of the research exceed the cost of doing research. Okay, if the cost is higher than the value of the research, then you should not conduct your research. But if the value of the research will give higher profit, okay, to your company, higher than the cost, then you should conduct the research. Okay, type of research. Okay, so there are three types of research. First, we have basic or pure research. Second, we have applied or action research, and the third one we have historical research. Okay, let's take a look into the pure research. Okay, this type of research is not for solving the problem at hand. Rather, the basic or pure research is carried out to develop the theoretical foundation concerning certain phenomena which take place and to expand the limit of knowledge based on the finding. Okay, let's look into the pure research example. Okay, first, the influence of environmental awareness on consumer buying behavior toward environmentally friendly product or green product in the market. Okay, kita tengok balik maksud pure research ni, dia bukanlah untuk menyelesaikan masalah. Okay, so based on the first example, okay, apa yang masuk kat sini, kita just nak tahu the awareness on the consumer towards the environmentally product. Okay, dia tak ada masalah pun, cuma kita nak tahu how far the consumer aware regarding the environmentally product or green product. Okay, secondly, the relationship between employee job satisfaction and the quality of the service they provide to their customers in service organization. The third one, the impact of customer satisfaction towards certain product and their willingness to provide positive words of mouth and recommendation for that particular product to their friends and family. Lastly, modeling customer loyalty towards the service provided by certain company based on their experience with the quality of service provided and their perception on the corporate image of that company. Okay, again, please remember for the basic or pure research, we are not our major concern are not to solve the problem at hand. Okay, second type of research is, we call it as applied research. Okay, applied or action research is carried out for the purpose of solving an existing problem. Okay, yang kedua ni fokus dia adalah untuk menyelesaikan masalah yang sedia ada. Okay, for example, the researcher conduct an applied research when he wants to study about the specific problem. For example, the demand for proton is decreasing. Okay, the decrease in demand is reflected in the monthly sale of proton car nationwide. So the management is trying to identify the factor that contribute to the decreasing demand in order to make an appropriate step before the problem get worse. Okay, for example, for the current situation, okay, since kalau kita tengok ramai orang yang really affected because of the pandemic COVID-19. Okay, so for example kat sini Proton tengok dia sale will decrease. Okay, sebab ramai orang yang kena potong gaji, kena buang kerja, so tak ramai lah orang beli kereta, betul tak? Okay, so itu masalah dia. So apa yang Proton dapat identify, okay, rupanya ramai yang kena buang kerja, kena potong gaji. Okay, so apa step yang dia nak buat to counter back their sale? Okay, for example, dia bagi special discount ke, okay, ada special cashback ke, okay, untuk menggalakkan orang beli kereta Proton contoh. Okay. Other than that, the example of applied research, the study to determine the level of acceptance among the Malaysian of different ethnic backgrounds toward the One Malaysia concept introduced by the late Prime Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak. Second one, the study to identify the main factors considered by the customer when buying health product in the market. Okay, to assess the damage caused by the recent flood on government school in the country. Okay, the third type of research, we call it as historical research. Historical research relates past event to the current event. One significant difference between historical research and other type of research is the type of data collected and the method of data collection. Historical researcher collect data in a chronological order based on the event occurring in the past. Okay, historical research ni dia melibatkan time frame yang panjang lah biasanya. Okay, for example, biasanya kita boleh tengok di dalam medical field. Okay, sebabnya kalau kita nak tengok tentang sesuatu penyakit tu, it take a longer time. Okay, sebab that's why dia melibatkan tempoh waktu yang panjang. Okay, sometimes certain disease, okay, tu kita perlu kaji daripada from the past. Okay, so that we call it as the historical research because it involving longer period of time. Okay, let's take a look into the other type of research. Okay, yang ni in term of objective perspective. So kita ada descriptive study, kita ada correlational study, explanatory research or study, and exploratory research. Okay, so what does it mean by descriptive study? Okay, descriptive study describes systematically a situation, problem, phenomenon, service, or program. Okay, for example, how child feel living in house with domestic violence. Okay, the main purpose is to describe what is prevalent with respect to the issue or problem under the study. Okay, so dia punya ayat descriptive study tu pun is come from the root word of describe. So we just want to describe the problem that arise. Okay. Okay, yang kedua, correlational study. Discover or establish the existence of a relationship, association or interdependent between two or more aspect of a situation. Okay, yang ni dia nak kaji kesan. Okay, kalau yang ni berlaku, apa kesannya terhadap benda lain. Contohnya, what is the impact of advertising campaign on the sale of a product? Okay, contohnya kalau a company dia punya campaign or marketing strategy dia very booms. Okay, so apa efek dia? Sale akan meningkat. Okay, what is the relationship between stressful living and the incident of the heart attack? Okay, contohnya kalau some individual they have the very high level of stress in their life, okay, it will increase the risk of getting the heart attack. Okay, so the third one, we have explanatory research and exploratory research or study. Okay, so ada dua beza, A dengan O. Okay, explanatory research we attempt to clarify why and how there is a relationship between two aspects of the situation or phenomena. We want to make some explanation about why or what are the what are the relationship between stressful level dengan incident of heart attack. Kita nak come up with the explanation. Whereas the exploratory, okay, is carried out when not much is known about the situation at hand or no information is available on how similar problem or research have been solved in the past. Okay, yang ni kalau tadi kita nak explain, yang ni kita nak explore sebab we does not have an experience on the problem that arise. Okay, kita tak ada pengalaman pun berlakunya sesuatu masalah tu, so we need to explore the problem first. Okay, then we look into the type of research. Okay, yang ni in term of mode of inquiry perspective. So kita ada dua, quantitative research and qualitative research. Okay, let's take a look into the difference between these two. Okay, qualitative research describe a situation, phenomenon, problem or event if the information is gathered through the use of variable measured on nominal or ordinal scale. Okay, so kalau awak ingat lagi, kita ada nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio. So if you get collect data in term of nominal or ordinal scale, so majority of research that involve from these two measurement scale, we call it as qualitative data. Okay, biasanya it involve in observation lah biasanya. Okay, whereas if you collect or gather data using interval or ratio scale, okay, so we call it as quantitative research. So this is the flow chart in conducting a research. Okay, first thing first, you have to define and refine the research problem, state the research objective, determine the relevant research question, formulate the relevant research hypothesis, collect data and perform analysis, and finally interpret the result and write the report. Okay, let's take a look into the characteristics of a good research. Okay, so the first characteristic is it should based on the work of previous researcher. Okay, maksudnya sebelum ni orang dah pernah buat. Okay, apa yang what is your tugas kita adalah to continue the research. Okay, bukannya kita ulang balik kerja yang sama, but we can extend or we can add on the research that has been conducted previously. Okay, it can be replicated in another set of population. Okay, if a research examine the relationship between problem solving ability and arithmetic reasoning of primary school student, the same study should also be replicable to the secondary school student for the two reasons. First, one of the hallmark of any credible scientific finding is that it's applicable. Second, if the result of an experiment can be replicated, they serve as a basis for further research in the same area. Okay, for example, katakan some researcher has conducted a research on primary school student in Selangor. Okay, let's say katakan the other research want to conduct the similar research yang researcher A ni buat. Okay, so researcher B can adapt or can adopt the same research to conduct the study in Kelantan katakan. Okay, for the primary student in school in Kelantan. Okay, so dia boleh adapt yang researcher A ni buat. Okay, sebab apa kita kata kita boleh adapt. The situation are more or less the same. Okay, we want to conduct the study on the primary school student, but the population is different. Tadi dekat Selangor, yang ni kita nak apply dekat Kelantan katakan. Okay, then the characteristic of a good research, it can be generalizable. Okay, maksud generalizable ni, okay, ingat lagi tak yang kita buat sampling tu? Okay, kalau kita buat sampling, you have to ensure that your sample should represent your population. Okay. So the conclusion from the study can also be applied to other population if their characteristics are almost equal. Okay, so you don't have to reach or you don't have to collect the data from the population. Okay, you can just take a small portion of a sample, and then you make research on that sample, and then you make a conclusion for the whole population. Okay, another characteristic of a good research, it should based on certain rational and it relate to certain theoretical foundation. Okay, bukannya shot sendirilah, dia mesti ada very concrete foundation. Okay, the activity undertaken for the betterment of society. Okay, so ingat, why we conduct research? Sebab kita nak provide a better decision making. Okay, so apa yang kita boleh concludekan kat sini? A good research should have the following characteristic. Okay, first, objective should be clearly defined. The outline of research process is explained in detail. The research design is thoroughly planned and clearly understood. Okay, high ethical standard of research are applied all the time. The limitation are revealed and the scope of research is properly defined. The method of data analysis and statistical tests to be employed is adequately explained and justified. Okay, so make sure when you conduct a research, this list should be your checklist. Okay, purpose dia define ke tak? Okay, dia punya outline explain in detail or not? Okay, how you design your research? Okay, what is the limitation? Okay, sometimes limitation, for example, in term of time, in term of cost. Okay, and then you should use the correct statistical tools or statistical tests to analyze your data. Okay, the last part is basic ethic of a research. First, protection from harm. Okay, so when you conduct a research, okay, awak perlu ensure your respondent, okay, were protected. Okay, second, maintenance of privacy. Okay, you should ensure that all your research work is confidential. Okay, for the research purpose only. Kita tak boleh guna data yang kita ada tu untuk tujuan lain. Itu maksud dia, it should be confidential. Okay, you should use the data that you record for your objective stated sahaja. Mungkin tak boleh awak tak boleh bahagi ataupun jual data yang awak ada tu kepada the third party. Okay, coercion, the respondent are participating in the study at their own will. Okay, so kalau ada respondent yang tak nak jawab awak punya soalan because of the privacy concern, awak tak boleh nak paksa lah. Okay, informed consent, the respondent should be made to understand the rationale for the research and they should agree to waive their right to privacy when they participate in the research activity. So awak kena explain why this research were conducted, what is the use of the research. Okay, katakan awak nak Okay, objective of the study to on the certain objective lah. Okay, confidentiality. Okay, sama macam yang first tadi tu lah. We want to protect the right of our respondent. Okay, sharing the finding. Okay, last kali bila you have done all the stage of conducting the research. Okay, bila awak dah selesai analyse the data, you should sharing what are the output from the research that you have conduct. Okay, sharing the findings. Okay, report tu perlu presented to the audience. Okay, especially for the one who participated in the study.